It's Sarah Peterson here, and you're listening to an episode of MLM Marketing Explosion. Do you have a Facebook group yet? Would you like to know how to grow your Facebook group, whether you already have an existing group or if you're just starting from scratch?
How are network marketers like us supposed to rank, advance, and build a downline without begging our friends and family or having supermodel good looks? My mind was blown when I realized that the top network marketers aren't calling their friends and families to invite them to lame hotel meetings and in-home meetings. I've spent the last 2 years learning from and dissecting the system that top earners in the industry use. Follow me on the journey as I continue to learn and implement the top marketing tips and strategies to grow my downline. This is Sarah Peterson, and you're listening to MLM Marketing Explosion.
Yesterday, we discussed how to close your MLM leads. Today, we're going to discuss how to grow a Facebook group full of qualified buyers. When I ran out of family members and friends to bug about my MLM, I turned to Facebook. I knew that there were other social media platforms, but all anybody in my company was talking about was Facebook. So I decided that it was finally time for me to jump onto Facebook too. But the problem was I'd never really done anything with Facebook, like maybe a little bit of stalking, but that was about it. So I had no idea how to get friends on Facebook, let alone how to find qualified people that would want to use my products and join my MLM team, right? Previously, the little bit that I'd been on Facebook, it was to look for like really old friends, stalk old boyfriends, really hope they're not listening, stalk old people from, high school, college, whatever. And I don't mean that in a bad way, but I didn't engage. I would go to find out what they were doing, right? And to look them up and see how their life was going. But I wasn't doing a whole lot on there, and I certainly wasn't posting. So I'd heard that there were over 1 billion people on Facebook. And so now I'm going to go build my business on Facebook, right? And I figured that it was going to be super easy to find those buyers, right? Wrong. It was not. I knew that there were people in my MLM company building on Facebook, and they were building big teams on Facebook. I knew that 78% of people that buy things have seen it on Facebook. And I also knew that all these people that were in my MLM company that were using Facebook to build had a private group that they'd set up for potential and current customers and distributors, right? I had no problem starting a Facebook group. I could figure that out, right? I could go Google it. I could go do it. But in fact, starting that group was actually the hardest part. The trouble was I didn't have any team members. I really didn't have any existing customers. A lot of them had disappeared, right? The people in my team were not building online. They were building offline. They were doing belly to belly and kneecap to kneecap and doing home meetings. So I didn't really have anybody to put in a quote unquote, team members only group, customer group, right? I had no idea how to prospect on Facebook. I literally had no one to add to this group, right? I had no idea who was going to be part of this group. And it quickly became apparent that cracking this quote unquote Facebook code wasn't going to be as easy as I had originally imagined. I knew that I was losing money every single month because I wasn't finding new distributors and customers to join my team, right? It wasn't, that I wasn't gaining money. I was losing money because there were other people, they were joining other people's teams. Consequently, I decided to hire a private coach that could show me how to build my downline, right? I invested in myself because I knew I'd make that investment back out. Well, as any good coach should, he taught me how to market. And I was so excited. All of a sudden, I could see how learning how to market myself on Facebook wasn't, just about building an MLM business. But marketing in general was for everybody. So restaurant owners, realtors, chiropractors, dentists, small business owners, big business owners, you name it, they could market it on Facebook, right? So now I no longer wanted to limit myself to people in MLM, right? This was bigger than just network marketing. I wanted to share my knowledge with the world because marketing is for everyone. Everyone needs it. I thought that would mean that people would flock to my group. And they did at first. So within the first 24 hours of setting up my group, I had 50 people in it. And that was huge for me. I never even imagined that, I could grow a group that big, and certainly not that fast, right? But that's where I ran into my first snag. I was building my Facebook group for everyone. I didn't want to limit myself as to who I could help, right? The last thing I wanted was to exclude somebody. I wanted a huge Facebook group. And I've got to admit that it took me a really long time before I realized that I did not want a group for everyone. I mean, like months of building this group for quote unquote everyone. And since I was trying to help everybody in tons of ways, I actually probably didn't help anybody. Weird, right? Some days I was doing videos and posts about how to market yourself if you were a realtor. Other days I was using examples that network marketers could use and relate to. I mean, like I was all over the place. I jumped from industry to industry to industry, trying to share my knowledge with as many people and as many, industries and niches as I could. That sounds like a great plan, right? But it wasn't. As a result, they were really confused. My group got disinterested in what I was doing, and it kind of started dwindling back a little bit, right? And it was exhausting for me to run. So I stepped back for a couple months. I reevaluated what my purpose was, and I made my group fit those priorities and those purposes, right? So my very biggest piece of advice is that you make your group very targeted. Who is your group for? Is it for moms with young kids? Is it for entrepreneurs? Is it for moms of boys? Is it for empty nesters? Is it for people that like to golf? Is it for people that work full time? Is it for people that like to travel? Is it for people that like Disneyland? Is it for people that like the beach? I don't care what you make it around, but make your group exclusively for that person and that group. Got it? All right. Secondly, use your questions to qualify people before you allow them to get into your group. My very first question on my group, and if you didn't know, you can actually set it so that it's private, so that not everybody can get in, right? You have to approve them and say, yes, you can be in my group, or no, you can't. And you can set up the questions within the group, and then they get asked questions before they join, right? So I totally use mine to qualify people to see if they're the right fit for my group. And my very first question on there asks if they're an MLM or if they're looking for one to join. And if the answer is no, they're not an MLM, guess what? I don't allow them into my group. My group is only for people that are in network marketing. And in addition, if they don't answer my questions at all, then they just don't get in, right? It's a small price to pay to get to be part of the group, right? You answer the questions, you're an MLM, you get to be in the group. Now, thirdly, and this is so important to remember, thirdly, this is your group. You make the rules. If people are engaging behavior that you don't like, then kick them out and block them, right? You get to decide what kind of things get posted and what you're going to tolerate. If you want a group where people can promote themselves and share links, that's totally cool. If you want a group where people can post and engage and stuff but not promote themselves, then make sure that you're clear about that rule, that they can't self-promote. Make sure that you then enforce the rules in the very beginning, or it's going to be really hard to enforce them later as your group gets bigger and bigger and continues to grow. So anybody on here ever see the movie Field of Dreams? I actually love that movie. I hadn't watched it in a couple years, and it came on one night, and I was like glued to it. I remembered how much I liked that movie. And in the movie, he turns his field into a baseball field, into like a baseball diamond, because he knows that if he builds the field, this baseball field, then the baseball players will come. And when I built my Facebook group, I hoped that that was going to happen to me, right? That I was going to start this Facebook group and they would come, right? If I started the group, the members would come. That cause and effect, right? That wasn't the case. If you do not tell people about your group and invite them to be part of your group, they won't come. Plain and simple as that, right? And that's not because they aren't interested in it, but simply because they don't know about it. You've got to tell people about your group if you want them to join. Now, the last thing you want is to create another job for yourself, right? Am I correct? The whole reason, or at least for most people, that they start MLM is that they don't want more job, right? They want more time freedom, correct? Does that sound correct? Is that you? So running a Facebook group can be a lot of work, like a ton of work coming up with the content and what to post and make it interesting and make it engaging, right? So would you like to know how to create engagement in your Facebook group so that you aren't doing all of the work by yourself? Make sure that you come back tomorrow. You definitely don't want to miss it. In addition, would you like to learn the things that my coach taught me so that you can use them to build your MLM team? If so, go to www.marketingexplosion.org and join with others who have signed up for the 20-day MLM Momentum Challenge. Every single day of the challenge includes a training video, an action to complete that day, and a checklist to keep you on track. And in addition, there's a private group just for the members of that challenge so that they can ask questions. See you there. Are you tired of bugging your family and friends and bumping into the same people all over social media trying to pitch your opportunity? If so, grab your team members and go to www.marketingexplosion.org and pick up your free copy of MLM Momentum. It's going to teach you how to get people coming to you and applying for your opportunity. It's also going to teach you how to get paid for prospecting. See you soon.